They're the freakish love child between Creature World and Cryptoadz, and they've been doing some huge numbers in terms of volume this week. Let's jump in and check out Creaturetoadz. First up, I want to say if you could hit up that like button, it really helps out with the YouTube algorithm. Also down below, I've got chapters so you can fast forward to the sections that you want to help you navigate the video easier. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Please do your own research before jumping into the NFT space. Before I jump in, I am doing a 0.1 ETH giveaway when we reach 5,000 subscribers. There's some details down below and also at the end of the video. But anyway, let's kick on with it. So this is a preview of what Creaturetoadz looks like. Basically, it's a combination of Creature World and Cryptoadz. So you basically end up with this crazy, wacky style. So what is Creaturetoadz? Creaturetoadz is the first crossover project between creatures and Cryptoadz. Now, when you jump onto their Twitter, you can see here they've got 15,400 followers. And when it comes to the content that they're posting, it's very typical of what you would expect for any kind of project. So some previews, meme-like stuff, and stuff that's on trend currently. And then when you get over onto Discord, it is pretty much the same. You've got 34,000, so almost 35,000 people in their Discord, which is double that of Twitter. But it's pretty generic in terms of what they have, nothing groundbreaking here. Now, what I do like about this project is the fact that we actually have the artist tagged into the Twitter account, and you can actually see this artist and who they are. And you can see here that it said, once a designer at Facebook and Uber. Now, what's really cool about the artist is you can actually jump and do a deep dive on their Twitter, and you can actually see that 26th of September, they're putting up some content. And here's an example of why I believe it's got a little bit of strength. They've got a post here, appreciation tweet for Creature NFT. Hard to explain how peaceful this piece of art makes me feel. So you can see that they haven't just made the account just for this drop. They've actually been in the space and they've been lurking for quite a while, which I really like. It shows that the artist has actually been into the NFT space. You can also see here that on the 19th of April, they put up their first NFT as an art piece. So you can actually see that they've been in this space for months and months. When we jump over onto OpenSea, we can get a snapshot of the project. We can see here you've got the 8,900 items, the 5,800 owners with a floor price of 2.34. And then when you hit the buy now and start to have a look at the price floor, it could easily get up to a 0.25 quite fast, kind of plateau there, and then it'll boost up to a 0.27 quite easily with some volume. So before I go on, I want to say a big shout out to MW. He actually raised this for me. He's like, hey Nate, been following YouTube since your call on Toads, which has done really well. What are your thoughts on Creaturetoadz? So big shout out to MW. If there's anything you'd like me to cover, you can drop a comment below. You can kind of reach out to me on Twitter, and then we can go from there. Anyway, let's jump into Nansen and have a look at the stats. So Creaturetoadz deployed 5 days ago. You've got the sort of the 8.9 in circulation. Scrolling down, we can see that when it was released, the volume, which is this green bar, was absolutely huge. But that wasn't the day that got it to number one. And we can see the average price just steadily climbing up. Then when we get to the 24th, we can see another huge spike of volume, and then the average price kind of gets very, very choppy. Now, this day is when they actually got to number one on OpenSea. And we can actually see here, we got their tweet. We are number one on OpenSea for volume over the last 24 hours. None of this would be possible without the community. So this is a really big feat to get to that number one. And you know that this kind of gives it more exposure and gives it a chance at kind of hitting that blue chip status later on down the line, when you kind of can take over that number one spot for a day. Jumping back into the stats, what we can see here is that the average price denominated by the green had been in an uptrend until that 24th. Then at that point, it has been slowly tapering off. Now this day, we need to see a close to see where it goes. So we can't actually take any data from this last day. What we can see though is that the average price had been dropping quite a little bit, but it looks like there might be an uptick starting to happen. Now scrolling down to the individual transactions. Now this chart is only collating the data from the 25th, but you can see here that on the 25th, so the day after that big run up, we can see that there are a lot of notable buyers jumping into this space. After that, the trend has been down, but this is from the 25th, so about a 2-day period of a downtrend. Now look, that isn't necessarily a bad thing, just taking on those past 2 days of that downtrend, seeing that this has bucked the trend overall when it comes to what the NFT space has been doing over the past week or so. Getting down to top balances, we can see here that the top balance is 151 and the next one is 50. Now, with a difference of almost 3 times the amount between the first and second holder. That is very, very huge when it comes down to a distribution. Other than that, we get down to 18 being the last. So within the first 10, there is almost a factor of 10 when it comes to the difference between the top holder and the bottom holder. Now that would seem bad from the outset, but when we have a look at the top balances over time, we can see here that they peaked out at 252 and they've let go. Now you can see that for the past couple days, they have been holding flat. So it seems like they may have offloaded their bag, recouped some of their costs, and now they're holding, which shows a little bit of strength. If this top balance was sitting straight across the top, then I would be a little bit worried that we could hit some kind of price ceiling, or there could be a dump on the market. And there could be, but I don't think so. Looking at this, it looks like they've offloaded their bag and they're kind of just holding on for the long run. When it comes down to the type of NFT collector over time, they're sort of sitting flat and holding firm. When it comes down to smart money, just adding up, loading, and holding. So apart from that one major holder offloading half of their bag at the beginning, everyone looks like they're loading up and holding on to kind of see where this goes. Now look, this project is only a week old, so only time will tell what they'll do. But the fact there was this huge run up and there wasn't a big exodus of the project, apart from that main top holder kind of offloading, say, half of their bag, it looks quite strong when you start to look at these statistics. Getting over and having a look at the unique addresses, what we can see here is that day by day, it just seems to dropping off. We might be getting a bit of a plateau, but we need to see this run out for another 3 or 4 days to actually determine where it would sit. Now, if we combine this trend with the percentage holding one NFT, which is down to 79%, which is still a very high percentage of holding one NFT. But what I'm taking away from this data here is the fact that the people that are holding one are accumulating the people that have been holding one. So we end up with the percentage of holding one NFT go down because you end up with someone leaving the market and it going into the hands of someone that already owns them. So essentially there's not new people coming into the space, but it's people within this space just snapping up what's currently there. But saying that, the distribution is quite good. We've got 5,700 owners of our 9,000 item project, and we've got a 79% distribution. So overall, those numbers are good in my eyes, and that points to a strong project in what I look for in the data. So don't look at the chart and assume that it's bad. It's actually a lot higher than what other projects are. When we come down to the balance of the diamond hands and what the diamond hands are doing, we can see here that it did stay strong until we got that huge run up. Then people were offloading their bag. So my belief again is the people that got in at mint, saw the run up, saw the fact that they could kind of take that quick flip, and with the whole market kind of doing a bit of a dip, this is an easy way to kind of take a win and then exit the project. And the people that are in the project also kind of see this as a long-term hold, and they've kind of snapped up some of those pieces there. Now coming down to the profit leaderboard, this will give us an idea of where this project can run up to, with the top profit taker of 14 ETH and the top 10 rounding out with less than 5 ETH. We can see here that I believe there could be more of a run up or more profit taking that can be had, because for a top profit taker of this type of project to be at 14 ETH, I feel like we should be getting to around a 20 or a 30 ETH point. But seeing that that isn't there means that I feel like there is a bit of a runway, and I do feel like we will kind of hit some kind of ceiling. The way that I like to interpret the profit leaderboard is that if there have been some huge profits taken, then it means that we may be able to run up to those numbers again. The fact that I don't believe the profit leaderboard has run its course yet means that when there is another spike or another run up, there may be an influx of people offloading some of their holdings, which will then kind of really quickly cap and put a ceiling onto the price of Creature Toads. When we have a look at the entry points for the top 5 buying addresses, what we can see here is that they all got in at around this 0.5 mark. There is just a line of 0.5 where the entries are at Creature Toads. And jumping over to OpenSea, we can see here that the price floor is of a 0.23. So the top 5 buying addresses have made a paper loss when it comes to this project. So the fact that they're holding may show that they think there is a bounce back when it comes to this project. When we get to the legendary buyers, we can see here that a lot of them got in at the mint. This is the number close to 0, and then it's clumping around that 0.5 section. When it comes down to smart money, there's nothing we can take away from this chart because it's too far spread out when it comes to where the data is sitting. So overall, between the top 5 buying addresses and the legendary addresses, around that 0.5 mark is where a lot of people have entered. And with a current price point of 0.23, 0.24, that shows that you can actually get in at almost a 50% discount at where some of these top bag holders and some of these legendary collectors are. So without giving out financial advice, you can see here that you would be getting in at almost a 50% discount on what some of these other people that are in this project are doing. When it comes down to recent transactions, we can get an idea of how fast the needle can move. Over the past hour, there's been about 6. So what we can see is over a 2-hour period, we're kind of getting around that 18 mark. So if you then jump onto OpenSea and have a look, a run up of about a 3 to 4 hour mark, you could get the price floor to around a 2.8 mark. Now you have to think, if you could get in at a 2.4 and you could get it to 2.8 over a 3-hour period, and that's contingent on people not actually listing their NFTs, is that run up good enough for you? I don't think so. I would want to see a higher volume. Saying that, in the US, it is currently nighttime, so it's around that 2-3 a.m. So the volume may be a little bit lower than you would currently expect. So overall, what do I think of Creature Toads? I think Creature Toads is a fun looking project. It's the kind of project that I know won't necessarily buy in, but looking at the entry points of where it currently is, it's starting to look a little bit attractive. I don't necessarily like the art and resonate with the art, but saying that, Creatures and Cryptoads have done very well in terms of their price floor, so that just might be a subjective matter when it comes to me and looking at art. So I think that if you're in the Creature community, or you're in the Cryptoads community, or you're looking at getting into those, this may be a way to kind of dabble into it and kind of get a bit of an entry and see if you kind of like those styles of communities. I know that the Cryptoads community is absolutely wild. Any video I put out, you've just got mad vibes in the comment section. So big shout out to the Cryptoads community. I love those guys. Would I buy into Creature Toads? I think the price would need to be a little bit more attractive, closer to the 0.2 mark. But saying that, I don't necessarily resonate with the art, and that is one thing that I'm trying to position myself better towards. If a project goes to 0 but you like looking at the image, then you're not going to regret it. If you really hate the image, or you hate what it's going to do to your collection, and it goes to 0, then you're only going to see value in it if the price rises. So before I go, I want to explain the competition. I'm giving away 0.1 ETH when we reach 5,000 subscribers on YouTube. Down below, I've got a link to Twitter and the pinned tweet. So jump over onto Twitter, follow me there. You want to retweet that pinned tweet, also subscribe here. Then what I'll do is when we reach 5,000, I will pick someone and they will win the 0.1 ETH. So good luck when it comes to the giveaway. Let me know your thoughts on Creature Toads, and if you're in Creature Toads or you're thinking about getting into it. As always, it's been a pleasure having you with me, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.